This is awesome.
Oh, Clark, hey. Good to see you among the living, man. Check it out. It's the latest talent mix.
Thanks, Pete.
Good to see you all among the living. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest edition of the Talon Mix. It's a Smallville recap podcast where, guess what? Two guys talk about Smallville. And that's... Sometimes. And I think if I had to explain podcasts, I think in general to someone who did not know what a podcast was, two guys who talk about Smallville sounds about right.
Yes. Yeah, two guys talk about Smallville and almost no one is listening. That explains most podcasts.
I'm Brian, here as always with my pal Zach. Zach, how are you doing?
You know, I'm looking back on 3 seasons of Smallville and just all the emotions that come with it, you know, proud, sad, excited. It's just so much has happened.
What a time to look back. I'm glad we have this period built into the show where we just get to reminisce and look back and celebrate everything that makes up the season of Smallville that we just watched. The people can't see, but of course we are in full tuxedos.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
We've sent out invites to the entire Smallville cast. No responses.
It's because we roasted them last year in our opening monologue.
We roasted them so hard they all ran for president.
Yeah, be careful who you roast in your audience. Oh my gosh.
So this is, of course, going to be our season 3 recap and awards ceremony. We're just going to keep it pretty chill, pretty laid back. This is the technical awards, the one the night before that they don't actually broadcast.
Yeah, right.
There's a dinner.
I mean, it's last time we had clips. Since we're pretty much an audio only for the most part podcast now, that doesn't really make a lot of sense with like car crashes and stuff. Not, you could listen to them, but that's not quite as. So we're just going to talk about them.
And you know what? I think that's fine. Before we get into that, though, hey Zach, what were you watching this week?
Okay, I watched The Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. Freddy's Revenge.
Okay.
Because I had heard recently some glowing recommendations on some podcasts, because I did not realize that it is seen by many as a like major queer text.
Okay, that was my question. Was it this one or 3? Yes, there is a whole documentary about it called Scream, Queen, My Nightmare on Elm Street, from like this actor, and how the movie kind of ruined his career. It's a very good movie. But I have not seen Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
I didn't know about that it ruined his career. I did a little research on Wikipedia after I watched it, but yeah, it's according to my limited research, there's disagreement amongst the people who made the movie whether it was intentional or not.
Right.
But some key people do think it was. From watching it, it seems like exactly that. Like some people were going for that, and other people had no idea.
Right.
It's kind of a thing you could take either way. Even if it wasn't intentional, it's still one of the most homoerotic movies.
So basically, my understanding from the documentary Scream, Queen, is that this actor faced a lot of difficulty of, like, you know, he was an up and comer, and it was the 80s, which is not a good time to be a queer person. Basically, so like you couldn't really be like out if you wanted to get leading roles. Because you would only because a queer person would just be seen as queer. And clearly you can't play anything else. And clearly a queer person can't be a main character. But it is sort of been implied that basically after Nightmare on Elm Street 2, he could no longer passably play straight. Which, woof.
Well, look, I don't know. I haven't seen that documentary, so I don't know his story. But from just watching the movie, I don't see why that would be the case.
Because it was the 80s.
Right, yeah, but the movie, I mean, the
Right.
movie, if there, it is all subtextual. It's never like stated that he's gay. It's not in the main storyline. So, but yeah, anyway, I highly recommend watching this fucking movie, Brian. If you even remove all that stuff from it, I still think it's a pretty solid like sequel to Nightmare on Elm Street. Like,
Sure.
it has the same problems as Nightmare on Elm Street, where like towards the end, I'm like, I don't understand the rules here or the logic, but
Sure.
it's it's something else, man. I really think like it did give me vibes of like not in terms of tone or subject matter at all, but it gave me vibes of like Tim Burton's Batman Returns, where I'm like, I don't know how a major studio like put their stamp of approval on this movie and put it like, I'm glad they did. I think it's good, but just like, how did that get past the gatekeeper in the 80s? You know?
Yeah.
I'm glad it did.
Yeah, I need to check it out. It's kind of crazy that I haven't.
Yeah, and you absolutely do not have to see the first one. Like, I know you have before, but you don't need to rewatch the first one. It's like, it's pretty standalone.
Got it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And then I watched yesterday. I went to the theater and saw Tar.
Oh, that's obviously, of course, on everybody's list.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
It was good. It was good. It was almost 3 hours long.
That's it. It's one of those pictures.
For sure. And I'd say it's good. And it's definitely a movie that after you see, you want to talk to someone about it.
Right.
It's discussion. It's all about that. I mean, it's not for everyone. If you are looking for a propulsive plot or something, look elsewhere. I thought it was good. I thought the last 20 or so, I was ready to, it's like, okay, let's wrap it up. But I'm going to wait until you've seen it and then we'll talk, because there's a lot to talk about.
Got it. Cool. Sounds great.
Good. Yeah, solid.
Hell yeah. Anything else?
I don't have anything else I saw, but I did want to take 10 minutes to talk about the DC universe.
Oh, boy. 10 minutes? Start the fucking clock.
I was going to say, I don't think either of you are very invested in that universe at all.
No.
But I still would like to take 10 minutes to talk about. Yeah. It sounds like now that James Gunn is taking over, it sounds like they're moving away from this phase they're in now, which is like a bunch of standalone stuff that doesn't have anything to do with each other. A couple of them do, take it or leave it.
Right.
But it's going to be a lot of like, give the filmmakers freedom, do what you want. It sounds like they are firmly moving towards pretty much everything's going to be connected. Marvel Universe. It said that James Gunn and whoever the guy he's running it with are working on a Bible for the universe.
Yeah.
And that just hurts. That hurts me inside.
It's also isn't what I want to see James Gunn doing, Of like,
No.
I think he's a very fun filmmaker and a fun voice, and to just see him doing fucking oh God, Marvel did this like 10 years ago. They started this 10 years ago. They created this fucking template and like obviously made an incredible amount of money with it, but like really, really sick of it. Would like it to stop and don't need two. Right. Don't need two of them.
No, you're too late.
Right.
You should have done this a fucking decade ago. I just don't want to see, like, I like it right now because it's like they take swings, they miss, they hit sometimes. I'll take that.
Right.
I don't want to see like 2-hour commercials for other movies.
That's always been my like big complaint.
I don't want to be like, oh, I'm excited because the Flash showed up in Green Lantern's movie or some shit.
Right. It's a gimmick, and it's a cheap gimmick. I mean, actually, it's a very expensive gimmick usually.
Right.
But like, I hate the idea of it not hate is such a strong word. Like, I'm going to see any of these fucking movies. If Batman's not in it, I'm probably not going to see it. Or Superman's not in it, I'm probably not going to see it. It doesn't matter. But, like, you get to this point where, like, Gwyneth Paltrow, like, famously didn't know she was in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And why would she? Why would she know that? You know, she just showed up against a fucking green screen.
Yeah.
And that's just what movies now are. Like, you don't even know what fucking movie you're in, because of course you don't.
No, why would you? Yeah. I feel like just concentrate on making a good Batman movie and a good Superman movie, which they did with the last Batman movie.
Yeah.
Knocked it out of the park. And then, like, if it all works out, then maybe think about combining them later. I mean,
right.
Writing a Bible feels like you are putting the cart before the horse a little bit. Like with Marvel, they made Iron Man and they made Incredible Hulk. Right. Those were the two that they started with.
Right.
And they weren't going to make more of those.
And everybody liked one of those movies.
Right. And they weren't really that connected.
Right.
Tony Stark appears in the credits of Incredible Hulk, but it's take it or leave it otherwise.
Right.
And then Sam Jackson shows up at the end of the Iron Man credits. But right. I refuse to believe they didn't have it all planned out how those were going to come together.
Of course not. No. It's like, we're going to do everybody and then we're going to do Avengers, blah, 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 blah.
Right. I mean, they took some wrong turns in that phase too, right? With the Iron Man 2 and Thor 2 and all that shit. And they're like, Joss Whedon.
Right.
Right, Avengers.
Right.
I just don't. I don't know. Maybe it'll work. Maybe I will.
But like, even if it works, I don't see a version of it working that I also like want to see. You know?
Yeah.
I would love to see a good Superman movie, and I'm game for Henry Cavill to have another go at it. Just don't acknowledge the fucking ones that happened before. Just like, hey, I'm fucking here. And even if you want to do the connection thing, I'm not even that worried about like a strong continuity. If you have to do the connection thing, just like, oh, Batman's here. Because it's fun that Batman's here, you know? It doesn't have to fucking matter.
Well, the quote that bothered me from James Gunn is he's like, I think we're going to be moving away from where you'll have like 4 or 5 different Batmans at the same time. And I was like, why? This is the logic where we couldn't have Batman in Smallville. Because like people are too stupid to realize they're different continuities. Like we can't handle that this day and age. We can't fucking handle that.
We had like 4 Spider-Men in the span of 10 years.
In the same movie.
And then in the same movie.
Yeah. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
We'll be fine.
It was like, I don't know, maybe they can put out like a funny Batman movie. That'd be cool. They're not going
Absolutely.
to. That'd be too big of a risk.
I mean, I think the risk is smaller if you do have other Batmans. You know what I mean? Like if Robert Pattinson is still going strong, you could do something like that simultaneously.
Definitely.
I just I really hope they don't move away from the Matt Reeves movies because I want to see more of those.
Yeah,
I would be surprised if they did. That was so successful.
Another one is certainly coming. I think that's a guarantee.
Do you think? I wonder if they're going to. Part of the Bible is like, oh, we're going to incorporate Robert Pattinson's Batman into.
Yeah, I hope not.
Whatever we got going on.
I hope not, but maybe. I mean, the movie made money, so like, I'm sure they're going to figure out what to do with it. But I don't know. I hope I don't fucking know.
Yeah. If the absolute failure of this will lead to the test taking a break from comic book movies for a few decades, then I'm rooting for it.
Yeah, right. Let's just burn it down, baby.
And we will enter the next phase of movies, which is the Tom Cruise makes every movie that comes out.
I'm here for it, baby. Sign me up. Speaking of cynical cash grabs for things, and continuations, and I have watched a new Disney Plus limited series. The first 2 episodes dropped.
Santa Claus?
Santa Clauses. Zach, are you familiar with the Santa Claus series of films?
I have seen all 3 feature films in the Santa Claus universe.
But all 3 are insane fucking movies. Insane movies. The first one has a certain level, like none of them are. The first one's not like good, but it has a certain level of like 1994 Disney live action magic.
It's a good kids movie. It's a good.
Yes.
When I was a kid, I fucking loved that movie.
Right, I'd agree with that. 2, I was already a little old for it when 2 came out, so I saw 2 for the first time as an adult, stoned, and that was a ride.
I think 2 is pretty decent. It's crazy. It's nuts, but
crazy. But I guess I'd agree with that it, it holds itself together as a kids movie. 3, I'm stealing this joke from my wife, but it's kind of amazing for a movie to have an anti-commercialist Christmas message, considering it was entirely just made to sell DVD trilogy box sets.
Yeah.
Trilogy box sets sell. Slap a 3rd movie together. Let's go.
That's Martin Short plays Jack Frost.
Yes.
And there's time travel.
And so it's revealed that Santa Claus has the ability to time travel, which means 9/11 happened and Santa Claus did nothing.
He let it happen.
Just let it happen.
Tim.
So the next one is not a movie. It is a series, because that's, of course, why make a movie when we can split the movie up into half-hour chunks and release it week to week, which is exactly what they did. They made a 3-hour movie that like stops every half hour and runs credits in between. You know what would be great? We just talked about the entire the Santa Claus trilogy. What if one of those movies was 3 hours? If like, man, I could sure use double the length of this.
That's a long sit.
Each episode of the show is half an hour. It's 30 minutes, and I'm like up against the first episode felt like it was fucking forever. Like, I aged 20 years watching a half-hour episode of The Santa Claus. It is the most, like, inane fucking filler shit. Because it's an 80-minute story, my guess would be. Stretched.
What is the story, Brian? Do you know yet?
So only the first 2 episodes have dropped. But basically the idea is, well, low-key, it's that woke kids are ruining Christmas.
War on Christmas.
Pretty much. You
can't even say Merry Christmas anymore, Brian.
Tim Allen's Santa Claus dejectedly says, apparently Merry Christmas to all is problematic now.
Timmy boy.
It's literally Emily and I were on the couch and we just went, Tim.
I like Tim Allen. I watched Home Improvement. I know he's conservative, but he was never like so extreme that it bothered me. But the stuff where he's like bitching about like Hollywood bias is the reason Last Man Standing is no longer on, and then like the next day you get to a big deal with Disney to do the Santa Claus.
Oh, right.
I'm like, the Disney Corporation just signed you to do a show.
It's
like,
Tim. Tim. The Christmas magic is fading, and Cal Penn is involved, and Cal Penn is sort of a tech bro who's maybe attempting to modernize Christmas. But Tim Allen is sad and maybe looking to retire. Which, wasn't the whole thing like he was maybe looking to not be Santa in the last one, and they had to go through a whole time travel rigmarole to make that work? Oh, don't worry, there's an additional clause.
There's a lot of clauses.
That means he can just quit because he wants to.
Gosh, you gotta read the fine print.
Hey, seriously. Now, meanwhile, what I deeply wanted and was kind of hoping was going to happen was in the first 10 minutes of this show, Tim Allen to die. And for someone else to take on the Santa Claus reins.
Right.
That's
how it works.
Which is a very funny thing this series has had to grapple with. You assume the Santa Claus mantle by killing Santa Claus.
Yes. Yeah. When Tim Allen's done with this, they could really take it in a dark direction. Like, this could be a horror movie. I mean, this is like a thriller.
Yeah. It's waiting
if you
to
want
happen.
what he has, all you got to do is kill him.
Yeah. The incredible powers of Santa Claus. Which includes, let me be clear, time travel. It's awful. You absolutely should not watch it. I will be watching every single episode without fail. It's awful. Zach, it's awful. Oh my God, I've never seen something hate pacing more. Just utter disregard for momentum.
Oh, okay. Well, it sounds like I need to re-up my Disney Plus.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Get on it now. That's all I've watched this week. I've only watched that. I'm watching.
Sounds like time well spent.
Abbott Elementary is back. I'm watching that. That's delightful. If you like good sitcoms, it's just a good fucking workplace sitcom.
Are you a guy who goes to see movies during the holidays, like during Thanksgiving?
Try to. Not always Christmas Day. I like to go to the movies if I can, but don't make a point of it. But if there's something I want to see, Christmas seems like as good a day as any.
Anything on the radar coming up for you?
What's coming out? That's a great question.
The big one for me is I'm ready for my boy Stevie's The Fabelmans.
Yes. Want to see that. I want to see The Menu. My wife,
I've heard that's good.
My wife saw She Said and liked it. That's the Harvey Weinstein movie.
I was looking forward to that, but then I saw the trailer it played before Tar, and it was like, it probably is just the trailer, but it was like a lot of like just like preachy monologue lines.
Yeah, I didn't see it, and Emily's certainly not like, she wasn't like about it, but she did like it.
I do. I love a procedural, especially like a news like a newspaper procedural, like Spotlight or All the President's Men, Zodiac. Like, I love that stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping. I'm holding out hope.
Oh my God, I'm just looking around. I forgot. I watched Don't Worry, Darling. Finally, Olivia Wilde's sophomore effort. Fuck, I forgot. It's terrible. It's terrible. I went in with like, obviously like there was a whole bunch of drama around it. I wasn't like super following that. But I really liked Booksmart and was looking forward to this one. I liked the trailer. I love my boy Chris Pine. He's a very handsome man, and I like to see him on my television. It's
they gotta get him in another Star Trek, Brian.
Seriously,
they gotta get him in another Star Trek.
I think one's maybe happening.
I keep saying that.
Right. But no, I think he's great. I always enjoy him, and it's terrible. It's like the first 20 minutes, I was like, what's everyone talking about? This is pretty good. I don't know. Not blowing my mind, but like, I want to know what's going on. Terrible. Right. Terrible.
What did Emily think?
Emily hated it more than I did.
Oh, see, I had a female coworker was a big fan of it. She told me to watch it, and if I liked it, to talk to her, and if not, to keep to myself. And she said that she looked online at reviews, and all the negative ones were from only cisgendered men. And I was like, I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true in this case. I don't think that, but I haven't seen it. I was like, okay, and maybe I just won't watch it then. I don't.
And I'll say, I obviously am a cisgendered male, and my wife is only one part of the sample size. but it's not very good. It's a very like I think like it a lot of it could, the script needed another pass. And that's for damn sure. But there's a lot of it that like could have worked if it leaned towards being cheesier, but it had a certain sort of like an attempt at like a Get Out kind of gravitas or prestige, if you will. And it's sort of like everything. It's impossible not to compare it to Get Out. They feel so tonally similar, of just kind of a Twilight Zone episode, you know?
Right.
But where everything that Get Out gets right, Don't Worry, Darling does very wrong. Very, very, very wrong. Not good. Not good.
Would it have been better or worse with Shia LaBeouf?
Okay. No vouching for Shia LaBeouf as a human being. Obviously not. Oh, he would have been much better in that role. Harry Styles, I was not prepared for this. Harry Styles was not very good.
Well, look, again, yeah, same thing. We're not vouching for his personal life or how he behaves, but he's an interesting performer, Shia LaBeouf.
Did you see Honey Boy?
No, I didn't.
That's his sort of like semi-autobiographical film where he plays the stand-in of his father. We saw a screening of that. Once again, can't vouch for Shia LaBeouf, and it's a beautiful movie. Beautiful. Haunting.
Great performer. So, but yeah, okay. Well, then I'm not gonna. Is it so bad that I should watch it, or is it just like? I
do think it's interesting. I think not in like a so bad it's good way. I think it's an interesting one to watch as like a screenwriting exercise of like what went wrong here.
What did we do here?
That is what Emily and I have enjoyed most. Of like what should they have done? Like what should have been scrapped? What happened? That said, if you want an Olivia Wilde recommendation, her debut, Booksmart, is very funny.
I saw that in the theater.
It's so good. It's so likable.
Yeah, a lot of fun. But you know what? Comedy is different than thriller.
Yeah, it's also the sophomore slump is real.
Right. What is that? People they get a little bit more room, or they.
Yeah, I think especially
when themselves, or what is it?
Because like Booksmart was pretty hot, and she kind of do whatever she wanted after that, and like that, I think that comes with like a little more like creative control, and not always a good call. Sorry, I just hiccuped right into the mic.
I think there's probably also a matter of like you're never going to have as much permission to do whatever you want as you are after that one hit.
Right.
So it's like. When you get that hit, you're like, well, I better take a swing now. When am I going to get a chance to again?
Right. Which, I also wonder, like, a successful first film probably leads to more money, which leads to a bigger production. And I wonder if people, like, fumble. This one famously had some production issues. And, I also wonder how much of, like, we got to get, because the script really is bad and is really the problem here. And I have to wonder how much of this is like, well, let's get started and we'll fix it. And they didn't fix it,
Usually it doesn't work most of the time. There are notable exceptions like Jaws.
Jaws, The Fugitive, Ghostbusters.
Fugitive, yeah.
I wonder how often like major changes kind of happen during production. We just don't hear about it,
Oh, for sure. No, obviously writers oftentimes on set, but I hope most of those, like, they start with a good script, and then when they're filming, things change, and they're like, okay, we need to adjust this or that. Like, for every Jaws or Apocalypse Now or whatever, I think you probably get like 100, like, Alien 3 or fucking.
Sure. I don't know if I've maybe told this. Ethan Hawke said in an interview once. I've maybe talked about this on the podcast before, but he talks about like film is such a weird art form as opposed to like a novel or a painting, and you're looking at it and just like, this isn't really working. You can just sort of like put it in a drawer and come back to it later. A multi-million-dollar like giant production with like tons of different teams. It's like this thing has a date and you got to hit it. If this isn't working, too bad. We got to keep going.
Yep.
And I think maybe something like that happened here with Don't Worry, Darling. I will say Florence Pugh, very good.
She's so good.
Kind of just don't miss.
She's so good.
Harry Styles, though, and I just going back to Harry Styles, it's like I'm kind of used to like charismatic, handsome people just being good. I just been like, wow, they were really good. And it's like, no, you're charismatic and handsome and not good.
Yeah, it turns out acting is a skill that you know.
Right. And Chris Pine's right
cultivate.
Here.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's and like I get the sense of like I don't think, especially based on some of the press, and I don't know how much fair that is to kind of lump in. I don't think Florence Pugh and Chris Pine are particularly happy with the finished outcome. And you can kind of tell they're giving it a like each of them respectively are sort of giving it like a 6 out of 10 effort wise, and it's still better than most people. Period.
Did you see the supposed video of him getting spit on by?
I think I heard about it, but I didn't see it.
It's so stupid. It's weird. What's his name? What's the guy? Not Chris Pine, the other guy.
Harry Styles.
Yeah, Harry Styles is sitting.
Right.
Is like he's about to sit down in the theater at the premiere next to Chris Pine, and he kind of leans over and purses his lips, and Chris Pine looks down and then makes like a face like, did that just happen? And then like does like a wow laughs it off. But it could have been about anything.
Right.
It wasn't like you can't see any spit coming out, and I doubt that was it. But it's
right.
such a weird video. Like, why would he spit on him?
Right.
That would be so weird.
Not at all involved in the drama.
Right. Why would he do that at a movie premiere? Like he's like, I'm never going to get a chance to spit on this guy again.
Right. So there we are. Is that I think that's everything. Should we move on to Smallville?
Let's do it. Let's talk season 3, Brian.
Let's talk season 3. What
are you just gonna pull up the wiki and just read a summary of every episode a row?
Yep, that's obviously the yeah, I guess. So
wait, do they just do a summary of season 3? Yeah, they do. It's only 2 paragraphs.
Would you mind? I don't have that. Would you mind reading that?
Yeah. Let me get some water. Hold on.
Great.
All right. I am, of course, reading directly from the Smallville wiki. Clark returns to Smallville after his self-imposed exile in Metropolis.
Oh my God,
face
it was so long ago.
Right? That it does. It feels so long ago. That was this season, Brian. And I want to say those episodes, those premiere episodes, were a little subpar. I remember that was our vibe.
Yes.
It was like usually they start with a bang and end with a bang in Smallville, and we started a little rough. The people were rusty. Lex was on an island.
Oh,
Lex was on an island.
I completely fucking forgot about that.
Yeah,
and that's also like an important storyline like that.
Yeah, he was going crazy with a white guy with dreadlocks on the island, who actually turned out to just be a figment of his imagination.
Which we talked about that, man. The 2000s loved that they loved that shit.
The turns out that person's not real.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that
loved
was a big deal.
I feel like I can name immediately 5 movies from around that time where that was the big twist.
That was the twist. I mean, it was so prevalent that was the joke movie that Nicolas Cage's twin brother was writing in adaptation was like called The Three, and it was all 3 of them were personalities and the same.
Right, man. I haven't seen Adaptation in a long time. That was good.
Me either, but it's a great movie.
All right, where were we?
Okay. He returns home to face his problems. His and Lana's relationship ends faster than it begins.
Forgot about
Boy,
that too.
does it. Boy, does it.
Boy, howdy.
He meets Perry White, learns more about his biological father, and gains a new ability, super hearing. So, wow, they're just going through the episodes. Yep, Perry White, that was a big one. The flashback one, I assume, is where he learns more about his dad.
Right.
Remember the 1950s Back to the Future soundtrack?
Right, of course.
Super hearing is when he went blind. He gained super
Clark
hearing.
went blind this year, gang. What a year.
And not only did he go blind, but like 15 minutes after he went blind, he's like, this is my life now. It's fine. No, I don't want your specialists in Metropolis, Lex.
I've been disabled for 15 minutes, and this is my whole thing.
I went straight to acceptance. Finally, sacrificing himself to save his father, Clark agrees to fulfill the destiny that Jor-El wants. Pulled into the Kawachi Cave wall, he is transported into space. So that's the season. But then we have another paragraph of all the other things going on. Lionel conspires with his old friend Morgan Edge. Remember Morgan Edge, Brian?
I forgot. Now I
Rutger
do
Hauer
know.
/ another guy.
Yeah, Rutger Hauer and another guy.
It was always part of the story for him to have his face changed. It definitely wasn't just written in there because they couldn't get Rutger Hauer back. Okay. Lionel conspires with his old friend Morgan Edge, who arranged for Clark's vial of blood to be stolen. That vial of blood is back from season 2, Brian. We're just way back when. He retrieves the sample and uses the vial in an attempt to cure his terminal liver disease, testing the treatment on a new subject, Adam Knight. Wow, when you read it, when you read it in like 2 sentences like that, it almost sounds like it makes sense that the story, the season-long story,
very zoomed out, right?
Yeah.
Rather than just a cornucopia of begun and ended storylines.
Yes, yeah.
God, this feels like I guess it was like 24 episodes, but like a lot went on.
Yeah, it feels so long ago, and we watched this. I feel like we watched them quicker than they aired.
Yeah, definitely, because
right?
we didn't take a big winter break or anything.
Right. When Chloe and Lex learn that Lionel killed his parents, Lionel conspires to make it look like Lex has a psychotic break and institutionalizes him. That was fun. That was the return of Back Baby in that episode.
I miss Back Baby.
He's never coming back, baby.
Not with that attitude.
Maybe the Smallville cartoon.
Season 11, which is definitely
Discovery.
That's
not happening anymore.
No.
Discovery. There's no fucking way.
There's no fucking way.
Unless the Talon Mix.
No.
They just fucking canceled the Bruce Timm Batman cartoon. They're not gonna fucking do a Smallville cartoon.
I don't know though. It's got such like a brand name, and like it is, though I don't know if Talkville's like doing gangbusters, you know? Like,
we were so close, Brian. I felt like we were so close to finally getting it.
It had to get moving a year earlier. If I got it moving just a year fucking earlier.
Yeah.
If only Tom Welling and Michael Rosenbaum had gone, should we go back to the fucking Smallville well?
Right, just a year sooner.
Just gave up a year sooner.
Okay, institutionalizes him, where he gives him a treatment to make him forget Lionel's misdoings. That treatment, by the way, is electroshock therapy. Yep. Something that we realized wasn't okay like 100 fucking years ago. However, Lex is brought back home, where he undergoes several psychiatric evaluations in attempt to get rid of witnesses for his impending trial, Lionel plans attempts on Chloe and Lex's life. He blows Chloe up seemingly and poisons Lex seemingly.
Right.
Okay, that's the summary they have for season 3. How did you feel about the season overall, Brian? Let's start there.
Am I crazy? I know there were some high spots. I know there were high points, and we were like, wow, good episode. And I remember talking about like runs of good episodes. Am I off by like feeling like a little underwhelmed by it?
No. So I think aside from the finale and the what's the name of the Emily Dinsmore going back to that well for some reason in the penultimate episode.
Yeah, right.
The last like 5 or 6 before that were actually really good.
Did it maybe just not stick the landing so that it like put a more sour taste in my mouth?
Yes, I think that was part of it. But then the other part was the beginning was not particularly good either.
Yeah.
I do think the lows were not super low this season. There was never like an episode where I was like, that was bad.
Though there was the Fast and the Furious episode.
But that wasn't bad.
It's
that
goofy.
Still had some fun, like it was goofy as fuck. Oh, there's plenty of goofy shit in here. Like the episode where the John Q episode.
Right. Lots of just movie plots.
Yeah. Like 7 in a row. But the Fast and the Furious one still had some good Pete Clark stuff. So I don't think the lows were as low as we've gotten in previous seasons, but it was a lot of just meh for the first like 10.
Right.
There were very few where we were getting excited there early on. And I think that's probably it. Also, it did feel like we were meandering more this season than we were in 2.
Oh, right. It's, because we were doing a lot more broader, more multi-episode stories this season, and we're kind of getting our feet wet. I know Smallville's going to start doing that. So, like, I think there's an element of season 1 and season 2 episodes felt more complete, if that makes sense, of like, which isn't to say we're still often like shooing in a meteor freak and like a direct confrontation. But like they're not as fun as like just like there's a bug boy and Clark has to stop the bug boy.
Right, yeah.
I don't know if that's part of like kind of the meander. It's harder for me to break up episodes now.
Well, also I think it's good that they're trying to do more season long or multi-episode arcs because that's where the show's headed. But I feel like they picked a couple turkeys there, like with the Adam Knight character that ultimately didn't really go anywhere. I don't know. I think this is probably like season 1 has a lot of stinkers in there, but there's a certain charm to season 1 that
you know Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say I would almost watch season 1 before I would watch this one again. Probably would.
Yeah, I agree. You know what this was also missing that I kind of can't get out of my head? Not a lot of teen angst and longing. Not a lot of googly eyes. And like, man, I do think that's a very strong Smallville pull, at least for me.
Well, because we're moving away from Chloe Clark. That's pretty much done in this season. We're moving away largely from Lana and Clark. Just in that she's like with Adam Knight. I mean, there's still a little bit of googly eyes, and then we're moving into like Chloe's more involved with the Lionel Lex thing. It was like because we drove a fence between Clark and Lana that kind of separates them in storylines.
Right. I think I could have used a love interest in here. I mean,
that's why we were so excited when we got Alicia.
Right.
Like before she went Meteor Freak, it was like, oh, this is cool, like a new character. I'm ready. Let's go.
Right. I think maybe that tension is something that was missing for me. And like we'll get it back. Don't get me wrong.
Right. Well, that's something I love about season 4. Not that she is a love interest, but she's a new female character, and there's good tension there. Would be the Lois introduction.
Right. It's very funny that Lois will not immediately be a love interest.
Oh no, she won't be for like 4 seasons.
Which is so funny. And like, yeah, that's
But it's
exactly what
perfect.
you do. That's exactly what you do when you're
Absolutely, that's totally what you do.
which is of course
You
it's the great element of a rom-com too, you know?
absolutely. It's totally like a buddy comedy with them because they're like Riggs and Murtaugh. They don't like each other, but they love each other. It's great, and I
Hell
can't
yeah.
fucking wait. And that's another fun thing about season 4 is when they introduced Jensen Ackles as kind of Lana's love interest. And I remember watching that and being like, you know what? I'm fine with if she ends up with this guy. He's
Right,
cool.
right.
Like Clark, let's move on. Lois is here.
Right.
Great.
I'm
Great, great,
I'm
great.
excited to get into that. That
It's
said,
silly. It's silly as
oh, I
fuck,
bet.
season 4. But in a way, at least I remember really loving. Lots of googly eyes, lots of freaks of the week, lots of silliness.
I remember thinking at the time that 5 was like the height. I wonder if I will still think that this time.
I mean, 5 is when we really start leaning into the DC of it all.
Which maybe is what I thought was more interesting then than I'll find it now. Given what we were just talking about in the earlier segment.
I remember 5 being good.
Okay.
Also, the thing about 5 is like it's like a fresh start because they graduate, and so it's a lot of new
that
stuff.
Teen soap reboot they kind of all got to do. What community call it? The
Dawson's
repilot.
Creek. Yeah.
Right. It'd be interesting to try to mark down teen shows that successfully navigated it and ones that never quite figured it out.
Right. Yes. I mean, like Friday Night Lights did, but that was only half teen show and half like.
Right. They were kind of like, because that was like prime time.
That was like, oh, there's a new class of kids that came in.
Right.
Which I guess they tried with Saved by the Bell. That didn't work.
Nope. No, it did not. They got their whole own show. The OC's strongest season is the first season, and it's just kind of slowly downhill from there. Yeah, Buffy kind of mostly figures it out. We'll figure out the list. Smallville, I sure hope it does, because there's way more of it out of high school than there is in it. So
yes, we still got 7 seasons left of this fucking thing, Brian.
I was reading something Smallville related that I hope we'll get to talk about for next week. But in it included a interview with Michael Rosenbaum, who from the first season, who talks about like we could be here for 5 years.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, he was 7.
Yeah, right. Should we start giving out some awards, or do we have any more broad thoughts?
Let's do it. I don't know where we want to start. I got let's Freak of the Year. Freak of the Year. This is going to be I think this is a 2-horse race, but I'll give you all the nominees. Adam Knight, of course, the several episode arc Boone from Lost.
Yeah.
His meteor power was that he kept coming back from the dead.
Right. I'm not a front runner for me. I don't know about you.
No. Me either. I wrote down good Ku Klux Van. He's not a meteor freak. No,
he's kind of the opposite. But
we'll write down what is the kid from the X-Men who steals Clark's powers? Is he a meteor freak?
He was Iceman in who looks.
I know who we'll put. The kid who used electricity to get Lana to date him.
Sure.
Whatever his name was. Remember?
Right.
They went to the fairgrounds that were for some reason in, like, the middle of the
that
winter.
Episode was batshit. Carolyn Page, I think, watched that episode with us.
Yes. Oh wait, no, she watched the one where Lex goes crazy because remember Darius?
Right. Who watched that? Maybe that was Cam.
It might have been Cam. I think it was Cam. I wrote down Eric Summer. Hold on. Sorry. I wrote down the character's name, but I have no idea who the fuck this is. Oh, this Eric Summers is the kid from X-Men. Okay, really the two it's between are Ian Randall, which is the great JTT, and Back Baby.
Right.
I believe he won last year, didn't he, Brian?
I think so as well. I think we
So
gave
this
it
would
up
be
to
a
JTT.
repeat for Freak of the Year. I don't know how many people are going to have that.
Yeah.
This title, and then of course, Alicia Baker.
Ooh, that's a front runner for me.
I think it's Alicia Baker. Just because
it's between JTT and Alicia Baker, right?
Of course. I mean, Back Baby though. The Back Baby
is one of my favorite parts of this podcast.
But here's what I'll say. Back Baby was only one of 3 villains in that episode.
Right.
Whereas Alicia Baker, she was a whole episode and she was so strong. She'll be coming back in 2 more episodes.
That's true. That's true. If you feel good about it, I'm good with Alicia Baker.
I think it's got to be Alicia Baker. The fact that we're even discussing it means that JTT did a really good job with a Back Baby.
I concur. The award goes to Alicia Baker for Freak of the Year.
She's not here she's not able to accept the award tonight. We will accept it on her behalf. Go ahead.
Don't put your unsolicited headshots in your new boyfriend's locker. Don't do it.
Like 20 headshots. Like so many headshots.
That's not even the worst thing she does in the episode.
No.
Also, don't try to kill your new boyfriend's friends. That's bad. Don't do it.
I didn't write down nominees for Yikes of the Year. I was trying to remember. I remember the big one was the quarterback.
Yeah, I don't know if there's getting away with that one. That one, like, to
Fitzy?
actually...
Yeah.
That one.
Where we're basically, the gist, to recap, is Chloe uses her power to get people to tell the truth. She has she should have been a Meteor Freak nominee.
Oh, man. Too late.
She wouldn't have won.
Right.
She has the power to get people to tell the truth, and she gets one of the football players to tell who they would want to take to prom, and it turns out it's the quarterback, who is also a boy, and everyone says, "Oh!" And Chloe laughs and smiles. It's like, "Ha ha! I outed you."
Right. I outed you, an incredibly personal thing and here it is in front of the school. And that's just a funny thing that Chloe did.
I mean, the other nominee...
Chloe does not have to reckon with that at all.
No.
This terrible thing she did.
No, it's not a moment. It doesn't come back.
No.
Ku Klux Van would also be another good yikes.
That's yeah. I don't see Chloe's getting beaten though.
No, I think Chloe's the winner. I think Chloe's the winner of that one.
The only problematic thing Allison Mack will ever win for.
You are winning this award because we can't remember the other times that were problematic this season. Congratulations. Allison Mack was unable to make it tonight. She's in jail. We will be accepting this award on her behalf. Okay, best new character, Brian.
Okay.
Here's the nominees. Perry White.
Okay. A fun appearance.
Played by the great Michael McKean.
Right.
Great episode. Morgan Edge, played by Rutger Hauer, and another guy.
Does Morgan Edge really introduce this season? Wow. Yeah.
He's in 3 episodes. If we're just going with the Rutger Hauer performance, he might have a chance, but
right.
It's kind of diluted.
Rutger Hauer and John Glover, though. Ooh.
And they were very clearly, purposefully playing homoerotic.
Yes, and it's
tension.
so good.
And it's fantastic. I would watch that scene again right now.
Just sexual tension between murderers is great.
Yes. Oh, it was great. Adam Knight.
No comment. Polite applause as the name is read.
Ku Klux Man. Also known as Van McNulty.
A lot of nominations for Van McNulty tonight.
But he seems like he's going to be one of those that gets nominated in every category but doesn't win any.
Right.
Big loser on the night, Van McNulty. And this last one is for our friend Carolyn Page, Darius, the bodyguard, best new character.
Darius, of course. Man,
go ahead.
Imagine your height being named by a character as Ku Klux Van and not winning most problematic.
His height is John Tucker Must Die. Okay, that's his height.
I meant in our awards within Smallville.
I think Perry White's the best new character.
Yeah.
It's either that or Morgan Edge. It's either that or Morgan Edge.
I really want to. Here's the thing, though. Morgan Edge, we have to add in one of those episodes. It's another guy.
Right. Also, Morgan Edge is going to be nominated in another category tonight, or he could be nominated in recurring characters. He could.
The only reason I'm really hanging on to Morgan Edge is his scenes with John Glover are, I think, some of the best things this season.
They were great, but they were like 2 scenes.
That is true. If I don't feel strongly enough about it, that if you feel strongly about Perry White, I'd be willing to concede it.
I do. I really like him as Perry White. I think that's a fun episode.
It is.
Where he's like a drunk has-been reporter.
A fun way to introduce that character. I concede it. I have no problem. I take no issue with that win.
Congratulations, Michael McKean. Come up here. Oh, apparently Michael McKean is never heard of this podcast, so he is not here.
What if Michael McKean was secretly a huge fan?
He just his window just pops up on the screen. We're like, how did you even get in here? That would be great.
Actually, that is who we should really try for. It's McKean.
Michael, that's a high. That's setting our sights high.
It's high.
If you get him, you get a Ned O'Toole.
I don't want a Ned O'Toole. I want Michael McKean.
They're married.
I know.
They're married. What if he's like, only if we can both come on together? And you're like, no.
Well, it does kind of ruin it, but it's fine.
Okay, best recurring characters. Similar category. So this is a character appearing in more than one episode in season 3. Morgan Edge. Ku Klux Van.
Here he is again.
Adam Knight. Frank Loader, the character you said literally last episode I've already forgotten about. I will never think about again. You didn't realize we had the award show.
I honestly couldn't imagine a universe where he literally left my brain until you said his name right here. Now I mean it. Now he'll never come up again.
And then Sheriff Nancy Adams was the other recurring character.
Oh, right.
She was introduced the previous season, but she still counts as a recurring character.
Yeah, I'd give you that.
She's not in the opening credits, but she pops up.
Yeah.
I mean, this is our chance to give Morgan Edge the award, I think.
I think maybe that's the move, right?
Although when he recurs as a different actor.
Which, yeah, run through the...
But it was kind of fun to watch this, like, C-list TV guy do a Rutger Hauer impression.
He was, like, kind of excited about it, right?
Oh, he was, for sure. He was doing Rutger Hauer.
Right. Did we give it to Morgan?
I think so. I think Morgan. Rutger, another guy. Come on up here.
Rutger and another guy.
Should we look up the guys?
No, absolutely. Zach, you know the answer to that is no. We could talk about it, but deep down, you know what the answer to that question is.
Rucker isn't here, and neither is the random other guy because he didn't get invited.
It literally might be in the Smallville credits as, and guest starring is some other guy.
Not Rucker Hauer. We will be accepting the award on their behalf. Okay, big one here. Ooh, car crash of the year.
Ooh, can't wait to hear the nominees here.
Okay, so I'm sure there's more, but these are the ones that I remembered. In Perry, Clark accidentally, remember the sun flares are going on, so his powers are like coming and going at extremes.
Yeah.
So he accidentally throws the tractor like 10 miles and it lands from the sky. It just crashes right in front of Perry White. And we appealed to Emily to see if that was in fact a car crash, and she said yes. So
yes.
that counts.
Yes. Good one.
Good one. And it is damaged farm equipment as well, so it's a twofer.
Ooh. Ooh, coming out hot and strong.
The next nominee is from the episode Shattered, which is, I think, going to be in the credits from here on out, which is the one where Clark zooms in front of Crazy Lex, and takes the hit of the car.
Right.
That's the one where Lex is like, he just got hit by the car. And no one thinks to look at the car, which is just like totaled.
Well, that's how used to they are. That's how used they were to car wrecks they are in Smallville.
Yeah, they're like, whatever. Who cares? It hit a pole or something and the pole disappeared. That's a good one. We have, this is I think a dark horse. This is the car crash in Velocity, the Fast and Furious episode, wherein the character dies in the car. The race with Pete, the character dies, Brian. The guy dies.
That is a great fucking point, dude.
Doesn't the car like tumble like 6 times too? I think it's a pretty good.
It's a hell
crash.
of a stunt. Yeah. I don't think it's a stunt. There's nobody in that car.
Well,
and yeah, actually, I don't know how you wouldn't without. But shows what I know. Fuck, dude. So yeah, it's between that. No, I think it's a 3 for race here. It's between that. It's between Clark taking it for Lex and Lex seeing it, and then the farm equipment, which is the funniest one.
Yeah,
this is the tightest race so far, I think. I
wrote down Covenant because I knew there was a car crash, but I can't remember what it was like. That was the episode with the Kowalski, and like the guy shoots a car with his eyes, and him and Clark are having a boner fight. But I can't remember.
Yeah,
so
well, it can't be that memorable, right?
3. I think it's these 3.
Yeah.
How are you feeling? What are you thinking?
I can't tell if it's recency bias, but I kind of want to give it to the last one.
The Velocity.
Right.
The Velocity car crash.
Right.
Yeah.
But like that, once again, that could just be recency bias. I think deep down, oh fuck, but that second one is so important. But no, because then it just gets mind wiped, which is cheap and sucks.
Right. Yes, exactly. It's not actually important.
Right.
I think Velocity, Brian.
I'm also let's give it a Velocity.
Let's go. Velocity's never going to win another award.
Give it to Velocity.
Velocity, come on up here.
The entire episode Velocity. Just run the entire episode on the screen behind the podium.
Well, turns out the episode of Velocity was busy on Hulu. Could not make it. Someone was watching it.
Could not get the rights.
Do you think anyone in the world is watching Velocity right now?
So that is an incredible question. Someone has to be, right?
I wonder. Do they?
It would be crazy if there was an episode of Smallville. No, but like also, fuck, I don't know. There's like
right now they're watching it.
Yeah, there's like 200 episodes of Smallville. Is that correct? 10 seasons?
Yes, a little over 200.
There's probably how many people? I would need to figure out how many people were watching Smallville right now.
Exactly. Yeah, that's in the thousands, probably, right?
That'd be my guess as well.
Yeah, thousands.
In the world, there has to be.
I don't.
All right, we're just
if they are, They're in for a treat, Brian. They're in for a treat right now. It's not like Friends, where I'll be like, yeah, someone's watching this episode of Friends somewhere in the world.
Right. Every
Or
single
Seinfeld.
episode of Friends is playing somewhere in the world,
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
continuously at all times.
It's like Law and Order on TNT
Right.
in the 2000s.
Smallville, there might be some gaps. Surely there is an episode of Smallville that is not playing anywhere in the world right now, and it could be Velocity.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm not off of this yet. This is fascinating to me. Someone is certainly watching the Smallville pilot right now. Certainly, without a doubt.
Are you sure?
Yes. Someone has been like, oh man, I haven't seen Smallville in a long time, and just started at the beginning. I am almost positive of that. Because I'm willing to bet most people who are watching certainly Smallville for the first time just start from the beginning. But
do we know someone at Hulu who can give us some numbers, or not like exact numbers because they can't, but just like to answer this question for us?
It's at 12:40 a.m. Eastern time. Was anyone watching?
Or like, just give us like how many people are watching Smallville at any given moment.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. We can kind of suss it out.
Well, if you work for Hulu and you're listening to this,
please reach out.
Please, we literally beg of you, I think.
Okay, this is the dubious award, worst episode.
All right.
Okay, I need to pull up the Smallville wiki just so I can remember what some of these fucking episodes were. I wrote them down, but okay. I have Extinction would be the Ku Klux Klan episode.
Right.
I don't think it was that bad.
No,
so
I agree. I feel like it'd be more memorable if it was worse.
Right. See, that's the thing. That's what I was saying. We didn't have a lot of all just out and out bad episodes.
Right.
Like the other one I have listed is Relic, which was the Jor-El flashback one. That wasn't bad.
No, it wasn't that bad. It was fun to talk about.
I have Magnetic, which is that's the one where the guy uses his electricity powers to manipulate Lana into dating him.
Right.
I have Whisper, which is the episode where Clark goes blind.
Listen, Zach, I have a not to throw all of our nominees under the bus. Does Zero from season 1 just win again? Just like through time and space, like manages to also be the worst episode of season 3.
This is the strongest nominee we have, I think, from this year, would be Resurrection. That is the John Q episode.
Right. Ooh, yeah, that one's a mess.
I remember that one being particularly rough.
Yeah, that's certainly the one like that's immediately hitting me as like, oh, right. I did not even like watching that one.
I remember we were like, this is bad.
It feels like a massive storyline. Like the John Q element is like 2 scenes and like was clearly the crux of the episode.
The pitch. Yeah. Yeah, let's go Resurrection. Let's go John Q.
I agree.
Okay, well, come on up here. Denzel Washington is coming up to the stage to accept on behalf of the movie.
Amazing, he's here. He's the one who made it.
What? Do you want to say something? No. Okay. No.
Okay.
He's good. He's good. No, it's okay. But thank you for showing up. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. No. Just you can let yourself. I'll lock it.
Catch you later, Dens.
Okay. I think we're gonna do best episode because we end with MVP, right?
Right.
So best episode, we got some good ones here. Let me pull up so I can just read them here. Perry, I put as a nominee. Perry was a fun one.
Very fun one.
That was, of course, Perry White. We got most of these are at the end here. Clark discovers that Jor-El is sending Jonathan messages through the key. Lionel makes a deal with Dr. Swan. That was the second Dr. Swan episode. I remember that one, you and I both being like, wow, this is like a whole different show.
That may be a top contender.
It is. I think that's up there. There's one other very obvious one I will get to. Truth, it was a good one. That's where Chloe made, despite the really bad yikes moment. That was a fun one.
Right.
Memoria. That was the one with Lex's flashbacks to his childhood. That was like a real fun.
Right.
That was a lot of good Lionel stuff in there.
Very good one. I do like that one.
That one will come back when we discuss MVPs, I think. Talisman, which was actually a pretty decent Kawachi Cave one because it has a lot of good Lionel Lex stuff in it.
Right.
Then this may be the front runner here. Obsession, which is the Alicia episode.
I do like that one. I do really like that episode. Fuck,
I do too.
Dude. Am I crazy if I made a real fight for that one?
No, you and I both have an admitted soft spot for that episode.
I just think I think it nails the googly eye stuff, and like in that
it
opening,
really does.
And in that opening act, like you kind of are like, at least I was like, I kind of just hope this episode's just this.
I know. It was
our boy just having a nice date.
Exactly. Let's go, Clark. Come on, Clark.
And then it goes really bad, and the really bad stuff is really effective. I think that actress is great. I really like that episode. I think it's clearly it was strong enough that they brought her back for 2 more.
For sure. I'm let's put a pin in that. Let's at least give the other ones their due. Memoria, Gut Punch.
Crazy. Yes.
Lex had a rough childhood.
They really keep focusing on the bald part, but I think that's maybe the least of his problem.
This is the episode where we discover that Lionel has blamed Lex for the death of his younger brother because Lex took the blame, but turns out his mom, who was suffering from postpartum depression, killed her son, her infant child.
Yeah.
And we get to see this. We get to see dead baby in this episode.
It's pretty rough. It's pretty rough.
it's
pretty rough.
Not something that you're expecting in the Superman show.
Nope.
And just such great John Glover in that episode and Michael Rosenbaum. That was the one where we were like halfway through, you're like, oh, Michael Rosenbaum might be taking the MVP, and then Lionel's like, step aside.
Yeah, it's like no. That was cute,
no.
But
and then the last performance of Christopher Reeve.
Yeah, certainly gotta put that one up top.
That was really good. Brian, I'm gonna throw my weight behind Obsession.
I'm with you.
Come on. Who are we kidding? Who are we kidding?
So here's the thing. Memoria is a great episode. Hall of Fame, great episode. Obsession is like also a platonic good, like if someone was like, what's Smallville? This also like fits within the platonic ideal structure of a Smallville episode.
Yes. That's actually a great point. Like Memoria is great, but it is an outlier in Smallville. It is not a typical Smallville episode.
Right. You can't show that to somebody like first. If somebody stumbled on that, they'd be like, wait, what is this show?
Like, why do I fucking want to watch this fucking nightmare?
Right. Obsession is like, no, that is what an episode of Smallville is like.
Same with Truth, because that's
yes.
Not Truth, with Legacy with Christopher Reeve.
Yes.
Because that's not a typical situation either. I remember watching that episode. You and I were like, "This feels like a different show."
Yes,
like a
definitely.
Really good show, but a way different show.
Right.
Truth is closer to a normal Smallville episode. I'd say Perry is also, but I would say Obsession has the clear advantage over those two.
I think we got to give it
Obsession. Sarah Carter, come on up here,
please.
Please, I'm begging you, Sarah Carter. Hello.
This is just all a ruse. Just throw it out there.
She's not here. Denzel, will you come back up here?
Denzel, do you know Sarah Carter? No? It was worth a try.
So, before we do best MVP, we actually have one more category. And this is kind of depressing. This used to be the biggest deal about the show, but this was kind of a weak year for it, which is Needle Drop.
Oh, right.
I don't even remember some of these, the context of some of these, but I looked at the songs that played this season and I picked out some nominees.
Yeah.
So Far Away by Stained.
Great Smallville song.
Great fucking, yeah. Now that we're here, so far away.
Will you please perform each of them as a...
Yes, yeah, perfect. I'm not going to be able to perform the Evanescence when we get to that. I don't have the pipe for it. 100 Years by Five for Fighting.
Ooh, I don't... Was that the one? It opens on them like running. That one, that was such a good needle drop. I literally named an episode after that. So like, one of our podcast episodes is 100.
That
was
where we learned that Lana is on the cross country team.
Right, man, that was a great needle drop.
And she got kidnapped later that episode by her mentor,
right.
cross country coach.
Mm-hmm.
She's fine.
It's fine. Go to Paris, Lana. Go to Paris.
Okay, are you ready for this one? I'm going to say it, and you're going to think one thing, but let me finish saying it. Wonderwall by Ryan Adams.
Right. I don't remember the context of that.
Do you remember Hurt?
Yes.
Yes. We agreed it was a bad one. Hurt by
yes, it
Johnny
was.
Cash.
I mean, obviously, of course, it's a great track. The
Right,
Johnny
of course.
Cash Hurt cover, but like, yeah, it felt schlocky.
It didn't fit.
Right.
You could tell they were like, "Oh, I love this song. We got to fit this somewhere."
Right.
But it didn't.
No, that was in the Lex is crazy.
Yes.
Crazy Lex.
Yeah, where Lionel's visiting him in the institution. This is from the Alicia episode. I remember we pulled this one out as a good moment. It was One Thing by Finger 11.
Oh man, great needle drop moment.
Yeah.
Great needle drop.
Wouldn't that be something? Yeah, that was a good moment.
Ooh, good one.
And then I don't remember. I do remember Evanescence being there. I don't remember what the context was.
Right.
It's My Immortal by Evanescence. I remember we were like, that is a 2000s fucking song.
Great 2000 song.
Can you sing that one? I don't know how that one goes.
I could. I could, but let me be clear. You can see the average duration of like people listening, and I think it would just crater.
It couldn't be worse than my rendition of One Thing from a second ago.
No, I liked it. I liked that. I think that was a perfect cover.
And then I wrote down last needle drop, Mozart's Requiem.
Of course, got to give it up for Mozart.
I mean, that was a great moment. That's where Lionel's getting his
right. Oh
clipped.
Shit, that is true. It is actually good. I was joking, but it is good. That said, I do think I think that is a like legacy, like a respectful nomination. I think it's got to go to one of the cheesier ones.
That's like the Peter O'Toole getting nominated at 85 or whatever.
Right. Man, okay. So for me, from that list, it's 100 Years to Live, the Five for Fighting one.
It's no, so you're taking that over One Thing.
Oh no, I'm just saying the ones that are in my head right now.
It's
One Thing. Yeah. It's Five for Fighting. I feel like if I could remember the Evanescence one better, it would be a stronger contender, but I can't.
Also, So Far Away. That's my favorite of these
songs. What was
the
context of that again?
I don't remember that. That's the problem.
Yeah.
See, that's why I think it can't win, because I don't remember the context.
Right, because it's not just good song. It has to be good in the episode of Smallville.
Right. And that's my favorite of the songs on this list.
Yeah.
Great song. But I don't think, since we can't remember, I don't think that.
Right. Right. So really,
I'm sure it was great.
Right.
But
I'm sure I was excited when it came
remember Five for Fighting and Finger 11. I specifically remember both those moments.
Fuck, those are both really good moments. This is actually the toughest one so far.
Rarely do we begin an episode with a needle drop.
Yes.
That was something.
That was a like kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Ambitious opening too. The tracking shot following the field team. Needlessly ambitious.
But there's something to be said for the moment in the middle of an episode just so complemented by a perfect needle drop.
Yes.
Which is what happened with the Alicia episode with that song. And I would say I like the Five for Fighting song definitely better than the Finger 11 song.
It's not about the song. It's about the use of the song.
Right. There's an argument for both.
I feel like you're leaning the Finger 11.
I'm just talking it out.
I got you. Fuck. See, I think it's such a so that moment in that episode in Obsession, the Finger 11 song coming up. It's after Clark and Alicia go on the date. Things are still good.
Things are great.
Clark is walking her to her door. Is he gonna kiss her? Like, brings me back to being a freshman in high school, like, immediately. Like, I'm there, in a way. So, like, I don't know. I don't, that certainly that 100 Years to Live Five for Fighting song doesn't get me there or hit me in that way,
No, but that opening is like that song. I mean, it's like a music video for that song, basically.
Yes.
The kid we're just following that kid, jogging with him.
Right. I talked myself into Obsession.
All right, I'm with you. I'll support it.
All right.
What a come from behind victory!
Seriously,
One Thing by Finger 11. Finger 11, come on up here.
Come on up here. The entirety of Finger 11.
Oh no! Well, it looks like they are not.
There is one person from Finger 11 here, but he walked out. He's gone. He's
finger.
He's in the bathroom.
One finger out of 11.
He's peeing.
All right. Well, we'll accept it for him. He'll
yeah.
We'll get it back. Big one, Brian. It's the big one.
All right. It's time.
MVP.
Here we go. It's all milled into this.
Here are the nominees I wrote down. And forgive me, it's an all-male nominee list this year. This is the first year Lana wasn't nominated. That's not her fault, Brian. The writing was to blame.
I agree.
The writing was to blame.
I concur.
Chloe, not quite there yet as far as screen time.
Right. With Pete gone, I think there's gonna be a big increase in Chloe coming up.
I think Chloe's going to be a nominee in the near future multiple times.
And then I think I imagine for you, I think Lois is going to be a fought for winner.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Coming up.
Maybe not right off the bat, but she gets there. So yeah, this is not a sexist thing from me. This is a Smallville writers problem.
It's their fault. We're just cogs in the machine, man.
Okay, so obviously John Glover,
of course,
nominee.
Returning now,
Michael Rosenbaum.
Current victor.
Yeah, yes. The first year, Kristen Crook won it.
Right.
Second year, John Glover won it. He's nominated again this year. Michael Rosenbaum also nominated. Huge year for Michael Rosenbaum. Asked to do a lot.
Yes.
This season.
Yes, and
asked to be stranded on an island, to lose his mind multiple times.
Has a lot of stupid stuff and does it with dignity and poise.
Yes. He has he really played the growing both obsession and frustration with Clark.
Yes.
Really well this season.
Agreed.
And all the stuff with his dad. I mean, no one else in the show goes toe to toe with Johnny Glover like him, except for maybe Rutger Hauer in one episode.
Right.
Third nominee, John Schneider. John Schneider.
We love Johnny K.
Great. I think he came on a little too late with his stuff this season.
Yes.
Probably to be a real contender, but he's nominated.
I'd agree with that. Also, he made his Smallville directorial debut this season.
That's true.
I don't remember the episode, but
last, and they're nominated, and this is only because you said during the recap that they would be nominated. They had to be nominated. Is a character named William Taylor, played by Andrew Francis. He was the whiny kid who was the son of the lady who turned out to be a revolutionary. Who's a teacher. She's a teacher that
right
to be a revolutionary.
Oh right.
Chloe outed her, and her son was like, "Just leave us alone." And you said he's MVP nominee.
Great.
And I said no, and you said yes, he is. So he's up here. He's
here he is. Did no even? I'm very surprised here. Not even a formal pity nomination for Mr. Pete Ross.
Oh, ooh, the goodbye pity nomination. Let's do it. We have another spot open.
Great.
Pete Ross, Sam Jones III. Big year for him. Did a lot with a little. Did a lot with a little.
Did as much as he could.
Very little.
Increasingly little.
He had less lines in the season than like any of the other major characters had in an episode. I think.
I think you are correct. Oh, Pete.
So little Pete for such a huge chunk of this season.
There are full episodes he's just not in.
You know, I read during my research on this season that the writers were hoping that having him find out about Clark's secret would give them more storylines for him, but it just ended up isolating him from the other characters.
Yes.
And so that was the problem.
And like I think we could have guessed that. Like, okay, this will really. I even remember like an interview and like Pete Ross or Sam Jones III saying like, "Yep, no, so I can really get in like the mix now," and like, no, because ultimately, and we've talked about this so many times, where ultimately Chloe has more of a purpose, even not knowing there's something to do with Chloe than
right.
And like Chloe helped with the Lana connection to keep Lana tied in to the show,
right. And Chloe has all the connections, all the sources. My guy at the police station, my guy at the cable company, my guy at the hospital, my guy at the morgue.
Right. And then the only thing so Pete knows what's Pete gonna do. He's still just Pete with his pal Superman.
Right. And now he's just isolated even more from the rest of the characters.
So the only thing Pete can like really actually like get into the mix with is Clark's social situations, which got put on the back burner this season.
Yes, exactly.
So there was just no hope.
No. I mean, if this were the Oscars, the clip we would play of him would be Chloe, everything is public domain. No, we would probably play his goodbye to Clark.
Yes, that would be.
He cried. It was good.
It's that continues to work on me.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's it.
Okay, so
that's it. Pete's been given his due diligence. He's not winning.
Let's be real here. It's between John Glover and Michael Rosenbaum.
Yeah. Do you think realistically is this Michael Rosenbaum's year? I'll say I don't. I'm skeptical. I think we're grading on a curve.
I thought it was going to be before the season started. I just think for the majority of the season he was given too much silly shit to do, and he really came into it at the end. Like I said, the back nine or whatever.
Right.
He was solid.
Right.
But John Glover doesn't miss.
There's no shame in losing to John Glover. Let's be clear.
No. And you've said this and jokingly, but you're also serious and you're also right, is like, it's obvious, like episodes are bad when he's not in them.
Yes.
If he's in the episode, it goes up, bumps up a grade.
Yes, period. No
Which
question.
is the definition of MVP, right?
Literally the most valuable. It's the show doesn't work if he's not in it.
Right.
Period.
Right.
I would keep Lionel Luthor over Clark Kent.
For sure.
If I had to.
Honestly, I don't know how he's ever going to lose one of these awards, but we'll see. I mean, I think
we'll see. Politicking comes in. Maybe at one point we'll just want to see him lose.
Rosenbaum will win one of these.
Yes,
he has to.
I can't make an argument that it's his year.
No, I think Lionel by default. John Glover. I think we got to give it to John Glover.
I literally wouldn't feel right if we didn't.
2 in a row, Brian. 2 in a row for John Glover.
Incredible.
This is the only the second year he's been eligible, and he's won both.
Yeah. And I assume of course he's going to be nominated again next season.
I mean, he's got to be leaving here with at least 3 or 4 of these things,
right?
Eventually,
right.
I mean, we'll see. But
which now it's worth noting, Cam still intends to be joining us for season 4, as a season host of the show, which is going to bring in a third vote, which could skew some things.
Oh shoot! I didn't think about that. She's going to vote for Jensen Ackles though, and we'll just the two of us will vote for whoever the other person is.
Just gonna nader it.
Ooh, that'll be interesting with 3 votes.
Yeah, right.
Oh man.
Well, we'll see what happens when we cross that bridge. But Mr. John Glover, congratulations again for your second in a row win. This prestigious. Did we ever end up naming these awards?
I can't remember. I still have the award somewhere. I made an award. What was it? It was a rock. It was like the Rocky or something.
Something like that. Well, Zach, that wraps up, man. Another season of Smallville in the bag, in the bank. We did it.
I'm so proud of us. I'm so proud of us.
And hey, it's gonna go up. I think it's gonna keep going up from here. Then go down for a little while.
Yeah, I think Yep.
And then Skeeter and Falter.
So excited about season 4 though. I may be just totally misremembering it, but I just remember loving it. It's gonna be stupid. It's gonna be silly. There will be witches. There will be a season-long storyline revolving around dead witch.
Oh baby,
let's go.
I don't remember that. I know season 4 is certainly, and 3 was probably a beginning there of I know season 1 was kind of this is cheesy, but I'm enjoying it. And then 2 and 3 were good. But season 4, I think is where you're giving me the DVD box sets and I can put them on and just go limp. And you know what I mean? Of I wasn't even thinking about it anymore. It was just a cartoon with a tray of Oreo cookies and then just pushing them into its mouth.
Oh shit. Yeah. And we get one of my favorite phases of Lionel in season 4, which is I don't even want to spoil it.
Oh,
I don't want to spoil
it. So this of course has been the Talon Mix. Let's see. We did this live on our Discord. We're kind of experimenting with that. If you want to join our Discord, there will be a link in the description of how to join us. That's the best way to actually keep up with us and talk to us. That said, the podcast is available wherever you get your podcasts. We will be back next week, which is the Thanksgiving holiday, with something. It won't be the season 4 premiere, but we will record something and put it out before then. But I guess that's everything. Hey, Zach, do you have a question for the Smallville gods?
Will Michael Rosenbaum ever win an MVP from the Talon Mix?
Good night, everybody.
Yeah!